Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him. And this morning in my time, I am facilitating a session of my game of Dark Age heroes protecting the innocent from the supernatural, Eotenweard. It's a PBTA game and it's in development. Changes every time. Um, This game is organised as part of this year's Gauntlet Con. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please check us out on Gauntlet-RPG and come talk to us, because if you play with us, you can join the Slack, get to know us, decide whether you want to spend any time with us. The Gauntlet also has a Patreon that you can support, and that Patreon will yield you a regular copy of the Codex Zine, which at the moment is numbering, I think, 70 or 80 pages every couple of months. So it's quite a substantial undertaking. And of course, that Patreon also supports our podcasts, Plus One Forward, the Gauntlet podcast, the Trophy podcast, Fear of Black Dragon, etc. The other thing about the Patreon is at a certain level, it will get you priority access to play games with us. So please look up the Gauntlet and come meet us. If you don't want to, if you want to try us out, then in about 3 months' time, there will be another Gauntlet open gaming weekend where we invite people to come and try online play with us for free and nothing. So again, keep an eye open for that. Okay, so Eotenweard. Dark Ages, a couple of hundred years after Rome abandoned Britannia, another couple of hundred years before the Vikings will arrive. So we have Celtic Britons, mostly Christian. We have pagan Saxons, which I'm using as a coverall for all the Angles and Jutes, etc., all those North German tribes who colonized part of Britannia. The supernatural is very real. Most people hope never to encounter it, but stuff happens. And because this can get a little dark, there can be some dark supernatural doings. We will be playing with some safety tools. I will go through this, though I've played with all these players before, just to get a sense to anyone watching of the Gauntlet's play culture. We are keen that people are comfortable to be at the table. And so we have a range of safety tools that we suggest. The ones I'll be using today are the X card, and the best way to get me to see the X card is to show it to me, because I won't necessarily be scanning the chat regularly. If someone does prefer to put X card in the chat, then all I'd ask would be that if one of the other players spots it, they draw my attention to it. I won't ask why the X card is played. I may ask how far back the player wants me to rewind the fiction to avoid anything that they might have found disturbing. And can I stress, the X card is not for really enormous, significant things. It can be for small things. I have had the X card played when I named an NPC, and it turned out I'd given them the name of somebody's auntie. And this NPC was doing unpleasant things, and they found that a bit uncomfortable because they loved Great Aunt Agatha. So we just changed the name, so the X card is there to be used. Please do. To try to reduce the chance that we do get into waters where we have concerns, we're also playing with lines and veils. Lines are those things that won't appear in the narrative. We will agree collectively to keep them out of the story. And there is a lines and veils tab, which I'll direct players to. My starting lines are sexual assault and violence, torture by PCs, torture generally, death, endangerment of children. That won't appear in the narrative, in the fiction. We're also playing with veils. Veils are those things that could appear in the fiction, but we will draw a discrete curtain across so they don't appear on screen. And my starting veils are domestic violence, animal abuse, and consensual sex. And I would simply say to the players, if there are any other lines and veils you want to add, please do so. We're also playing with two other categories, ask first and interested. If there is something you would particularly want to see in the narrative, I would say to the players, please put it in the interested column. If there's something you're not certain about, then put it in the ask first. Okay. So that is the setup for our game. The characters are all Eotenweard, guardians against the monsters. They are local heroes, known. They have a reputation for doing good, and that has led an abbot. And if you check out the Cats tab, players, you will see that this is the Abbot of St Anselm's Abbey has requested help. And from what you know of St Anselm's Abbey, you know that the abbot is Abbot Ceganos. You'll find him on the Faces and Places tab, along with some other characters that you will probably encounter. Those of you that have played this game before will know that I have a limited range of appropriate Dark Age pictures, so don't be surprised if you are seeing people who look familiar but previously had a different name. So that is us and that is our game. Let us then meet the players. So if I can go in character keeper order, introduce yourself and tell us your pronouns, please. Let's start on the far left. Blake.
G'day, I'm Blake, he, him. I'm playing Cuthred, he, him, commoner. He's a trapper of, foxes, rabbits, rats. And yeah, he was a lad in Danum and the town was raided, and he was inspired by some helpers from out of town that came to save the village. So he's been going from place to place helping people out.
If you want to know what happened to Danum, you'll have to go back and watch the other 20-odd sessions of Eotenweard to find that occasion. Moving along, Adam, say hello and tell us something about Regenmaer.
Hi, I'm Adam, he, him, playing Regenmaer, who is a Hammer of the Gods. Way back when, in the dark of winter, something big and nasty came out of the darkness, killed my brother's family who had taken me in, and I couldn't fight it off. So I prayed to the gods for strength, and when they granted it, I started hunting beasties.
No better reason, revenge. Moving along, Mario, say hello and tell us about Wulfric.
Okay, so Wulfric just happened to be in places where strange stuff happened, and that were mostly places he didn't want to be. But as a hireling, you don't have much of a chance where to work. You need to make a living, right? And even though I've been living for quite some year, I just don't understand how everything's working. There is so much strange stuff going on, and somehow it's connected to me. I'm not really sure if I like how life is playing on me, but well, you don't have a choice really, right?
And that is our loon, thank you. And finally, Bryn, our Fae Changeling.
So Bryn is a bit of a nomadic type of person, what we might call a vagabond nowadays, I suppose. He wanders from place to place. He was one of the few changelings that was handed over as part of a completely upfront deal. His mistress Gofala visits towns and villages stricken by famine, disease, warfare, and offers to give their children, the children of destitute widows, a chance to live in exchange, and someone to keep you company while I look after your child. And so, he was raised by a woman who was open with him about him being a changeling. And yes, he is. He has the burden of lust, which is not of a sexual nature, but instead of just a tentative nature, always tempting others.
Even if he doesn't necessarily carry through. Great, thank you. And he appears to be a pagan Briton, yeah? Brought up a Briton, but never quite able to cross the threshold of a church, perhaps.
certainly doesn't feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk about how these characters are related to one another then. So let me go back round to Cuthred. Is there a debt of honor you would like to have in play?
Blah blah blah. Revealed a dark truth to you. Agree when, what, how, and you owe them.
So, who would like to have revealed a dark truth to Cuthred?
And his goat.
Okay, Bryn, what is the dark truth that you have revealed to Cuthred?
That I'm inhuman. I'm a Fae Changeling, and I likely have no soul according to the Christian gods or any of this nonsense.
So does that mean that Regenmaer and Wulfric don't know you're a Fae Changeling?
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I think that they may know that I have some supernatural thing, but explicit, maybe I'm a human who was cursed by a Fae, as opposed to, no, I am completely of the Fae.
I mean, they could just think you're a pagan mystic.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. I say that I have powers given to me by the Morrigan.
For instance.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you make a note of that, Blake, in on your character keeper, and you owe Bryn a debt. Let's move along. What about Regenmaer? Which debt would you want in play for Regenmaer, Adam? Oh, you are muted.
Apologies. I quite like the one of my companions once stood between you and your revenge to save you from a greater evil. Agree what happened, and I owe them. Does someone want to have saved me from a greater evil?
I've got a stand behind me protection move. So it makes it sound like I'm a bit of a protector, so I could do that. But
Cool.
Or maybe Mario's got a better offer, I don't know.
Mario, what are you thinking?
No, not really. Like that move seems to be perfect in that instance.
Okay, so Adam, if you put down there for the character, you would have Cuthred, and he protected you from a greater evil, but he did get in your way, but you still owe him a debt. Yeah.
Cool.
And then let's move along to our loon Wulfric. Wulfric, or Mario, is there a debt you would like to have in play for Wulfric?
Absolutely. And I think here I'm aiming to anyone but Bryn, because that would be too obvious. And it's so-and-so is suspicious, but you think they are worth watching over. Agree why owe them.
Okay, so Cuthred or Regenmaer, which of you is suspicious, or which of you does the loon? The loon thinks everyone's suspicious, but which of you specifically is a bit sketchy, or they think you are?
I feel like Regenmaer might just be too straightforward for that. He doesn't really have any subtlety to him.
Cuthred? Because frankly, I'm wondering why you're so well dressed if what you do is catch rabbits and rats.
Hang on, so they think I'm suspicious?
Yeah.
Well, I whisper to my goat a lot, as if he's my private counsel sort of thing, so...
Yeah, that seems slightly odd. So Cuthred is suspicious, but you think they're worth watching over. Why, Cuthred? Are you worth watching over then?
maybe that's a goat of wisdom, and just by a lucky coincidence, sometimes you get a good idea while whispering to the goat, and then it seems like the goat might have some prophecy to tell, at least for Wulfric.
Yeah, I think Wulfric would actually absolutely believe that Cuthred is suspicious, but the goat is worth watching over.
The goat's name is Toad, by the way.
So I think there's an interesting possibility there, Wulfric, about were you faced with a choice, who would you want to protect if push came to shove? We'll play to find out about that one.
It's a goat.
And finally on this trip round, Will, which debt would you want to have in play for our Fae Changeling Bryn? Will, are you?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Take a drink.
I thought you would. I mean, and you're always saying such good things when you're muted, aren't we all?
Oh, that was me just going, so no, not this time. I think so. Cuthred and Toad is suspicious. My brother and my family. Who hasn't got a debt with anybody else? Everyone else has got a debt with everybody else. Sorry, I always forget that the debts of honor are in the middle of the thing rather than at the very end, like in the Monster of the Week character keeper. So Bryn, Regenmaer, Cuthred and Toad. I would like one with Wulfric, as he does not have a thing. So Wulfric, is tied to my origin. Agree how? No, you know what? Wulfric saved me from a monster. What and how?
What did you save Bryn from, Wulfric?
Well, after this all happened, I just convinced the both of us that it was an ordinary wolf, but we both know there was something odd to it, and that wolf most certainly wasn't a normal wolf. And yeah, I just happened to be around. Maybe you just didn't stand a chance by yourself. So it wasn't like I'm like the big savior. I just happened to walk by. I knew, well, that sort of wolf needed to be cut down.
Hey, I think you say, oh, it wasn't like I really saved you, and Bryn's like, oh, don't sell yourself short, lad. It's a fine thing that you did for me. I would never turn. It's my life's worth more than just a thank you.
Let's go back round and just do one more round of that then. Back round to Cuthred. Is there another debt you would like to have in play?
Such and such is your hero. Agree why?
Who wants to be Cuthred's hero? And
Sure.
I guess this is going to boil down to Wulfric or Bryn.
I've already revealed that I am a secret Fae Changeling. So
yeah, I think it's just a similar thing. I happen to be there, and it's one of those coincidences. I just can't get my head around why I have to be there, but it just happens that I'm there and help out with something bigger than me.
So Cuthred, Wulfric is Cuthred's hero, and Cuthred's goat is Wulfric's great concern. Okay, there's a triangle there that I think we can exploit.
So is it like a timing thing? He's always just there when he needs to be. So I'm like, this maniac's amazing. He's just always there to help.
Yeah, who knows? But that seems to fly. Okay, Regenmaer, is there another debt you want to have in play? And you're targeting Wulfric or Bryn.
I think either Wulfric or Bryn helped me on my path to revenge.
100% helped you on your path to revenge. Yeah.
Bryn very keen to have helped you on, and you owe Bryn a debt. And then Wulfric, is there another debt you would like to have in play and have it related to Bryn or Regenmaer?
Yeah, and I don't know with whom that would have been, but so and so went through hell with you, and you trust them completely. Agree what happened, Odin.
Okay.
So, similar story, I guess.
So, Regenmaer or Bryn, who went through hell with Wulfric?
I'm happy to have gone through hell with Wulfric.
Okay, Regenmaer it is, and Wulfric owes Regenmaer a debt. And finally, Bryn.
I would like to suggest one for. Oh, well, we've all got nice 3 ones now, haven't we? Each one between each of us. I would go with is tied to my origin. Does anyone go with that? Maybe we're from the same village, or you've had an encounter with Gofala, my Fae Changeling mistress, my Fae Lord, even. Anyone feel
I think
that?
the challenge of you being from the same village is that you're the only Briton among them.
Oh, that's true.
Or culturally you are.
Yes. Betraying my lack of cultural nous for thingy. I'll go with perhaps Regenmaer, and we've had a bit more of a complicated relationship. You tried to slay me but didn't, and what stopped it is the fact that this was part of your path to revenge. Perhaps I had taken the seeming of somebody connected to your quest for revenge, and so I owe you and you owe me, kind of like we've got a reciprocal owing thing going on.
Does that work, Regenmaer?
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, so we have some relationships and some debts between you. Those debts, if you check out the basic moves, you'll find details of what those debts can. Sorry, not the other moves. You'll find some of the stuff you can do with debts. Okay, so opening scene, I guess. I think I see Bryn and Regenmaer trudging over a hill. I think Cuthred and Wulfric are a little way behind, along with the goat, carrying a pack of your equipment and bedding and the like. And you breast this hill, and down below you can see, not so far away, the Great Humber Estuary, the marshes surrounding it, and a cluster of huts on the edge of the marsh, which is the Abbey of St Anselm. Bryn, what do you tell Regenmaer about your nervousness of entering this Christian village?
And it was, who was that directed at? Sorry, that was Bryn and
Regenmaer.
Regenmaer. I hope that some people keep to the old ways still. The Morrigan doesn't like it when I enter the houses of the god, of the Christian god.
Stick close, lad. No Christian god can keep out Woden.
And you can see that there is a church, a wooden thatched church in the middle of this small hamlet of half a dozen or so huts. But it does seem like that it is a working hamlet as well as an abbey. So it doesn't look like they're all monks down there. And that's the point, I think, at which we cut to Wulfric and Cuthred trudging up the slope behind you. What are you talking about, Cuthred?
I'll probably sort of look around and I'll sort of nod at Wulfric and say, no, I don't think there's many rats there. There won't be much to eat. Perhaps we will have to pay for dinner. This is not good.
Rats for dinner, Wulfric?
Well, from what I heard, they have quite a good hand with their fields. I suspect you will be surprised how many rats we'll find there.
And so you trudge down the slope towards the Abbey of St Anselm and its huts, its hamlet. Regenmaer, apart from the fact that this is going to have Christians in it, it's got a church in it, as you come down the hill looking at the marsh, the humber, the woodland to one side, what is it that you find most threatening?
They haven't cut back the wood far enough.
Right.
Any old beastie can creep up close.
Okay.
Foolish men hiding behind their god.
Too much faith. Too much faith. Cuthred, what encourages you, despite your concern that you may have to eat rats? What is the most encouraging sign you see as you approach the hamlet?
They look like they need help. There's a good chance we'll have some work here. It won't just be a quick visit and nothing.
Well, remember, you've come because the abbot has requested help.
Yeah. But it's not going to be he needs, a barn quickly fixed and we go. This is going to take a bit of time and it's going to be something for us to sink our teeth into.
Well, okay then. So what do you see that suggests that they are in need?
Well, yeah, there's not a lot of defences. Hell, they could be taken over by rats from the fen, let alone supernatural creatures. I'll be surprised if there's not some supernatural thing preying on the village. It's so defenseless.
Okay. Wulfric, as you, there's no stockade. It's just an open area with these buildings scattered about, as you can see. Who's the first person you notice? Describe the first person you notice.
I guess the first person I notice is a woman that looks a bit too clean and a bit too well fed for having 5 children.
Ooh, right. So that is a little unusual. Bryn, as you begin to walk through the fields and the huts, approaching, where do you head, Bryn? Do you head to the church or not? And if not, where?
I head to I think I'm drawn to an old like off to the edge of the village there is a circle of flowers, a fairy ring, and you can see in the overgrown grass beneath the remnants of some offerings to the old ways, even here in the heart of the abbey.
On the fringe of the village, there is a fairy ring.
Yeah.
And do you go there for a reason, Bryn, or just because you're trying to put off getting closer to the church?
I think that I think maybe it's even as we walk into, into the Abbey's like environs and the buildings and things like that, and there's all of the crucifixes and things everywhere, and cold iron and stuff like that. Well, bronze in this world, isn't it? In fact, so never mind the cold iron part. But there's lots of symbols of the Christian God, and you can hear a whisper on the wind that draws the voice of Gafala, and he comes and stands in the circle and just breathes in for a second,
And that is when an old man emerges from. Well, I mean, it's an interesting question. Where did he emerge from as the three of you stood watching Bryn just spend a moment in this ring of daisies or buttercups?
Yeah, I think Bryn kind of just like, one second, lads. I just need to catch my breath, and just goes and stands over and just. Where does he appear from? I would like.
Well,
to
that's
say...
a good question, because you were thinking about Gafala, and they were watching you, and he simply just comes out, just appears behind you all, and says, "Visitors."
If he surprised me, I come very close to cutting him in half before I catch myself.
So what? You swing round with your great axe raised, and
Donkey kicks him.
He cowers back and says, "I meant no offence, sir. I meant no offence." Wulfric, what do you make of this old man?
I think right now I'm focused to not be seen and just stand a couple of feet behind everyone. Because there's nothing good coming from a village that can't decide for one of the gods. Or for one side of the gods.
So are you in fact triggering capering fool? When you
that seems real good.
Okay, so when you act the fool to avoid someone or something's attention and or make yourself innocuous, roll plus soul. And your soul is, I can't remember.
0.
Okay.
So it's a flat roll then. And that is a 9.
So close to a 10. So on 7 plus, pick one. You're either beneath notice or harmless. Which?
It's beneath notice in this case.
Fine. That would fit very neatly with the fiction you were setting up. What does Cuthred make of this old man and Regenmaer's reaction to him, perhaps?
I'm used to Regenmaer, but I think I'll lean forward and go, "Are you the abbot?"
Oh, no, I am not so great. And clearly he's dressed in rough clothing. He's a laborer, farmer, peasant, whatever you would describe him as.
If you could get the abbot to come here. He has summoned us, thus we will summon him. Yes.
Oh, indeed, yes. And he's looked from Wulfric, or maybe he's not looked at Wulfric. He's looked at Regenmaer, he's looked at Blake, and now he looks into the circle at Bryn. Bryn, you have a move called Seeming Human. You clothe yourselves in the appearance of humanity, but mortals can sometimes sense your true nature. The first time in a session you encounter a mortal NPC, roll plus soul.
Mm-hmm. It's a good job I have that plus 3. That is a 9.
Okay, 7 to 9. Any mortals you encounter during the session are inexplicably suspicious of you, and you make social, inverted commas, rolls with disadvantage. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
There is something on your playbook about what's your true form? So what makes him uncomfortable related to your true form? Or what is your true form?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the true form is, I think actually the true form is like a being of like light almost, you know? I'm imagining a little bit like a sort of full humanoid version of the little forest creatures in Princess Mononoke. Like the spirit, like a sort of spirit rather than like a, you know, a wooden grassy changeling. And I think that like, if you look in his eyes, you know, and you catch, sometimes it seems as though they are glowing from within rather than reflecting the light outside.
Fine. And the fact that even when you're not facing into a light, there appears to be a reflection is perhaps slightly concerning to mortals.
I am also stunningly good looking for the the poverty-stricken time we are in.
Of course you are, and always clean, no matter what happens, always clean. And so he says, yes, I will carry news to the abbot, and so we cut to Abbot Ceganos, who is young for the job. You know, he is in his early 20s at the most, I would have thought. And quite how someone so young, because though you are all pagans of one kind or another, you've encountered Christian priests, and the ones who are in charge are invariably old. So quite why Abbot Ceganos is an abbot at his age is a question that you consider. But he says, you are the Eotenweard. You are the guardians, and that is what you are.
Aye, lad. We're here about. We heard that you were in need of help, and we just wanted to offer our services to you and your lord. God bless, and so forth.
And you are followers of our Lord?
I wouldn't say to such piety myself. I wouldn't dare to speak on behalf of my companions, who are all far better men than I am. But we're here to do good.
And I guess his eyes drift across you, and no one, I think, is a Celtic, is a Christian Briton. So no one's wearing a cross. So there is a slight kind of discomfort in the fact that.
Can I say?
Go on.
Just think of us as Samaritans. I hear that in the book.
Very good. Okay. Well, he says, please come. Let me provide you. It's been a long journey. Please come with me. And he takes you to one of the larger of the huts in the hamlet, where a woman appears on the threshold. And this is the hamlet's alewife, Ambudia. And he said, Ambudia, would you serve these visitors a drink simply to wet their parched throats after their journey? And then I will explain my concerns. And she brings out a couple of stools. There's a bench outside her hut, and she will serve you decent enough weak ale while he sits and talks to you. Do you take him at face value? What do you think, Regenmaer?
I think this is why Bryn and Cuthred are here.
So how does the audience know that Regenmaer kind of relies on Cuthred and Bryn for this kind of advice?
I have a feeling he looks at the abbot, he looks back at Bryn, looks at the abbot, looks back at Cuthred. He just shrugs and focuses on his drink.
Cuthred, do do you take him at face value? Because Regenmaer seems to be looking to you for a clue.
I'll whisper into Toad, my goat's ear, and get him to sort of sniff the abbot and come back. And I'm rolling for insight.
Okay, so on the basic move, you will find when you use your gift and pay your gods with blood or honor. So you need to decide whether you were going to mark wounded to sacrifice some blood to your gods, or owe them a debt.
I'll owe them a debt.
Okay, so owe them a debt and roll plus soul to see whether they channel their insights. And what does it look like? So you literally talk to Goat, and you think Goat talks back.
Yeah, well, I just know his reaction.
Okay. So roll plus soul.
Okay, what is soul? -1. Sweet. So that would be a 6.
Well, the good thing about this is that you get to mark experience on a failure. Wulfric.
Can I somehow help with this move and maybe push it to a 7?
I think it's difficult for you to help with a gift because it is kind of inherent to the individual.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's tricky for you to influence what Goat says, what Toad the Goat says.
Well, hang on. Maybe I'm looking at him as if, is my hero watching me? I'm helping the situation, sort of thing. And if he's watching me, I'm feeling better about it.
Okay, I will go with that. So if you check out the basic moves, you will find when you say how you help a PC after their roll plus subtle for a social or steal for other interventions. So I think that this is a social intervention. So you're rolling plus subtle.
Okay. That is a +1. There is the tab. And it's a 9 again.
Oh, that boundary simply cannot be crossed. So it says on a 7+, they add +1 to their roll and they owe you a debt. So Cuthred owes Wulfric a debt. The 6 becomes a 7. And we look at, usually on a 7+, you succeed and the GM chooses one from. You attract unwelcome attention. Your gift has a broader effect than you expected. Your gift takes more from you than you had expected, disadvantaged or wounded. I think your gift has a broader effect than you had expected. And I think that while you get a sense that the abbot is being absolutely straight with you, the broader effect is that there is deceit in this place. So while the abbot may be being straight with you, this place is not being straight with you.
All right, well, I'll say to Regenmaer, this man speaks honestly, but there is more happening here than is currently for us to see.
And the abbot, it will cancel. Yes, there is. Yes, I have concerns. 2 of my novices have gone missing. Bryn.
When and where?
Well, I sent word hoping that someone would come to help us 2 weeks ago. And one that was when the second one went missing, and the other one went missing almost a month before that.
Well, we heard your call. Woden answered. You should feel honored.
Oh, he'll cross himself at the mention of Woden. Bryn, Regenmaer looked at you, and you've seen this exchange. What do you make of it?
I don't know. I don't know what I make of it, to be perfectly honest.
That's okay.
As a player, I'm just like, it's mysterious. Let's find out.
It is mysterious. It is mysterious. Let me just retrofit that a bit. It was about a month ago that they sent word, because it would have to travel relatively slowly to find you, and a month before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably where we take our first commercial break, with the announcement that novices are going missing. It is just about hour now. Can I suggest a 10-minute break? Because it's early in the morning where I am. And back in our seats at 22 the hour?
Cool.
Fine. I'll pause the recording. We're back from our first break. I think I want to know what Regenmaer and Wulfric are doing as they wander around the village, just checking it out. Regenmaer, what do you think?
I think Regenmaer's happy to stroll. He really doesn't get how Wulfric works, but I'd say he's quite used to them just stumbling across whatever they need. So he's happy to just do a bit of a circle and wait until Wulfric trips over something.
Wulfric, what do we see as you are on this wander?
Wulfric doesn't know what he's doing either, because it's the way of the gods and not his very own. One thing I'm doing is talk to the children, because they have all the time in the world to recognize strange things happening. And the other thing is, there's a saying where I come from. And I can't remember the details of that saying, but it was something about, if everybody's looking at the wood, look at the river. So yeah, just change perspective and look in another direction every once in a while to get what's happening. So I'm asking the children about everything but the woods.
Okay, because Regenmaer identified the woods as threateningly close. So I think this is when you look about you and consider the risk, opportunities, or clues in the scene. Roll plus sense, Wulfric.
That is a 14.
Nice.
I'm seeing an 8 on the dice. Is anybody?
Yeah,
What is
it's that row for your party thing where you have a double 6 and then all of a sudden one of the 6s gets a 2. But either way, it's a 10 still.
It's a 10.
Right?
Okay. So on 10, hold 2, spend holes to ask the GM about the location or situation, someone or something in the scene, what might have happened or might happen here, or agree with the GM a detail to add to the scene that enriches the fiction, or ask the GM to do so. Plenty of options. We're both muted, Mario. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, I think we just I would just approach the children and ask them just about the place at first. So I think it's the location.
Okay, so what they can tell you is that they've only been here about half a year, because last year the abbey and the small settlement around it, and you might have noticed, actually, now I come to think of it, as you were coming in, this was once a larger village, but it was practically razed to the ground by Saxon raiders. And almost everyone except one priest was killed or captured. So I think that they think it's a good place. Their parents brought them here to help rebuild it. Does that seem like a reasonable answer to your first question?
Yeah, well, that gives us quite a history and the bigger picture of this village. Has anybody another question they would like to have answered here?
I guess Regenmaer might be wondering, is there anywhere that the children don't play anymore? For whatever reason.
Their parents tell them to stay away from that wood.
I'll give the wood a good glare. I knew it looked suspicious.
Okay, then let's go and have a look at the river.
Well, that was the gist of Wulfric's advice to himself. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. You have, when someone offers you sensible advice on what you should do, and you then do something the GM agrees is the opposite, owe your gods a debt to gain advantage while pursuing your chosen bracket ill-advised bracket course of action. So as you go to examine the river, which runs a short distance into this great marsh running down to the sea, what are you doing, Wulfric, as you approach the river?
Well, if there is a marsh close by, first thing I do is drink a sip of water, but more important, like just have a sniff at the water. Maybe there's something in the water we can't see.
It is quite brackish. It's not salt water, but this is a salt marsh, so it's quite salty. Just that slight, the people use it as water. They tend to get it from a bit further upstream, but yeah, it's brackish seawater.
Oh, there is salt in the water. They shouldn't have come here.
Regenmaer, there's salt in the water.
Wulfric, you've heard of the ocean, right?
I did. But
Yeah,
that's
that thing
supposed...
beyond the marsh over there.
Well, no matter how far the ocean is, if there's salt in the water, you shouldn't settle there. At least not if you're a fisherman. Well, that fisherman could be well advised to settle there, but livestock and such, it's not good for livestock.
I'm going to cut there. Wulfric, you still have your advantage to investigate the river and the waterway. Let me go to Cuthred and Bryn. What do we see Cuthred and Bryn doing at this point? Let's start with Bryn this time.
Bryn is going to ask around the village about these missing novices and see if there's anything that may link the two of them.
That sounds like Look About You.
Yeah.
It also sounds like a social role with mortal NPCs.
Yes, it could very well be.
So I think you are at disadvantage.
I'm at disadvantage, and I'm also, due to my -2 to Look About Me already.
Because of your temptation.
Yes. Well, let's see.
What distracts you? What because you're distracted by something other than looking about you. So what is it that distracts you?
I think there is someone. There is a people are gambling. Like, I have no idea what sort of gambling would take place at this time, being pre-dice. But
I think there is probably some precursor of Nine Men's Morris or something similar.
You've just described something I have no idea what.
Right, or some kind of bet on whose cockroach is the fastest.
Yeah.
It is in the nature of humanity to bet on stuff.
Yes, entirely. Yes.
So you are at -2, and your sense is already -1. So you're at -3, and you are rolling with disadvantage.
Yep. It's not
Do you
gonna
get
go
the
well.
feeling that Bryn is endlessly distracted by anything but what he should be looking for?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, entirely.
I can't wait to see how this one goes.
Yeah, I'm going to roll one of the orange dice as well.
Okay.
But, well, you know, astonishingly, that's a failure.
How delightful. So I think that you are drawn in to betting on whose rat is the fastest. And Cuthred, Bryn is oh, that's really interesting. And they call him over and he gets embroiled in some kind of gambling. What do you do, Cuthred?
Well, that suits me. It's a good distraction. I'm just keeping an eye on the other three because I'm thinking we would stick out, and I'm just seeing, is anyone looking out for them? Have we, you know, do we have a target on our back already? So I'm just sort of seeing who's watching us.
Right.
While
right.
blending into the crowd because I'm a commoner. So.
Yeah. No, I think that works. So that's look about you. I think roll plus sense.
Okay. Oh, right. 1. Hang on, no. Sorry, I'm adding 1, so 9 total.
9. So you get to ask me one question about the place, the situation, whatever else. So I think you've just asked me, are people watching the others?
Yeah.
I mean, the most obvious of you is, I think, probably Regenmaer. He stands out more than anybody else with his capering fool. So I think that it's whether anyone is watching them. And I think you will see someone just behind a wood pile watching as they make their way down to the river.
All right. I'll take my time and get... I'll make it look like I'm chasing Toad, my goat, and I'll just sort of meander around towards their direction, see who it is.
Is this an attempt to approach them without them seeing you?
Yes. Even though I'm kind of in plain sight, I'm just not making it obvious I'm approaching.
And then disappear around the back of the hut and approach the woodpile from behind. Okay, let's see how that goes with face danger. And it sounds like you are using, this doesn't sound like you're conning someone. It doesn't sound like you're praying to someone.
No.
I think you are trying to use your common sense to do this.
Are my dice moving? They seem to be sitting on 5 and 3.
I can't see your dice at all, I'm afraid, because of the way I've shrunk my window. So I'm afraid
I might
you're
just
on your
try
own.
2 other ones.
Do always feel free to use mine because it's not like we're rolling at the same time, is it? You know.
Right. So I rolled 7. What am I adding?
Sense.
So 8.
8. So you do it. On 10 plus, there would have been no complication, hard choice, or price to pay. I think the complication is that as you're coming around the corner, this person is also coming around the other way around the corner, and they bump into you, and you end up on the ground, struggling together, and you are seen. And several villagers come and pull you off this person, berating you for what are you doing? What are you doing?
Same.
Go on.
I was after my goat. But yeah, he seemed interested in this person, male or female, whatever. Yeah.
And this person is they say, but that is Brother Ambrose, who you'll find in the Faces and Places tab. He's a much older man than Abbot Ceganos, and he has a horrific burn mark that goes through one eye and round to scar his mouth, and he looks deranged. What do you do, Cuthred?
I am sorry. Would you like to come bet on the rats with us?
And he shakes his head and scurries away unless you stop him.
No, I'll let him. We're drawing the wrong sort of attention, so. All right. I'll go back to watching the others, I think.
Okay. So Wulfric and Regenmaer, what do we see you doing? Let me start with Regenmaer. You're down by the river.
Regenmaer's not really sure why we're by the river, apart from the fact that salty is bad, so they shouldn't have settled here. So he's going to take that. He's going to accept that.
Wulfric?
Well, we've been on the road for quite some hours. Did you see Jode straight heading for the river to drink? No, you did not. Why is that? There's wisdom in the ways of the animal. And if they don't like the river, we shouldn't either.
Are you convinced, Regenmaer?
I am very concerned by how much we follow this goat. I'm beginning to worry about the fact that our party leader is a goat.
Bryn, there you are, distracted by watching these mortals play. Are you content to just sit and watch?
Oh, no. Definitely getting on the action.
Okay. So I think that the rest of the afternoon passes swiftly with Wulfric staring at the water and Regenmaer getting more and more concerned, Cuthred watching their back, and Bryn having fun.
Oh, yeah, entirely, yeah.
Yeah. And that is when a novice appears down by the river to round up Wulfric and Regenmaer to come and eat with the abbot. And Cuthred, you will see that, so you have the option to join them. Bryn, you will see that. You have the option to join them if you wish. Bryn, do you join them to eat with the abbot?
Yes, because it's going to be the best meal that anyone's going to have in this village. It's going to be the abbot's table.
And Cuthred?
Yeah, I was going to tug on Brennan. We will join the master. Come, Toad.
It's not going to be a rat again, is it?
The truth is that Abbot Ceganos is a very humble man, and so what the food that is brought is very simple. So it'll be a barley stew with some vegetables, not much better than a poor man's pottage, but it is filling. Does anybody want to have a scene with the abbot, or is this just a convenient break for a meal and I cut to the following morning?
I'd like to speak to the abbot, actually.
Speak on.
You're missing novices. How long had they been with you?
They have been. They were good lads. They came when you might perhaps not know that this abbey was burned to the ground almost a year ago by Saxons, and it might be why some of the people might be suspicious of you, and I apologize for that.
No harm.
I've spread the word that you are here to help. And so I wandered the country for 3 months, seeking people to help me rebuild the abbey. And as well as some of the good people who came back with me to help, I found a handful of novices to come and join me. Apart from Brother Ambrose, I am the only ordained priest here.
The only true man of God, then, I suppose, if I understand your ways correctly.
Brother Ambrose is blessed by God.
Really? He, I think I saw Brother Ambrose. Well, Brother Ambrose is here, I imagine.
No.
No. I think I saw Brother Ambrose in the village. God's trials must weigh heavily on us sometimes, don't they?
He has suffered for his faith.
Yes. Now, I hate to broach such a uncomfortable subject for this holy place, but this is an old land with old ways from before the coming of the Christians.
Yes, but thank God that we have brought enlightenment.
Indeed.
Clutches his cross.
Indeed. I simply ask because in our way of work, we often come across things that were here before and are not happy with the new faith in the lands. Has he had any such problems in the past?
He was a novice at this abbey before he travelled far away and then returned to find it destroyed. As far as he knows, there had been an abbey on these grounds for several generations.
Okay.
And he says that, you know, that though they are now engulfed by the marsh, my teachers, when this was a much larger institution, they told me that the emperors had built the original abbey here.
The emperors? The Romans?
The Romans.
Well, don't see much of that still standing these days.
And no, and for their whatever sins they committed that led to their downfall, the sea, the marsh engulfed it. So there has been an abbey here for a very long time.
But now there is again. And Wulfric looks like he has something to interject.
Wulfric.
Yeah, I make a fist and hit a table and say, "There you have it. There's proof that nothing good is coming from the water. First the Romans, then the burnt down church. There's something foul in its place."
And I suppose that Abbot Ceganos treats you as the experts in this, so he's all ears. So what will you do? He says to Wulfric.
I take it you don't want to know about the ancient rituals. That is not your way, and it should not be of your concern.
I don't know what you mean, and there's clearly some kind of fear that you may be. He's now wondering whether the lesser of the evils, you know, is it worth sacrificing a couple of novices to keep pagans away from this? What are you suggesting?
I'm no shaman. I'm no druid.
Bryn kicks Wulfric hard under the table.
Ow! Stop it! We're here to help this man. But I witnessed rituals through my days, and we need blood. We need blood to purify this place.
Now he's kind of he's leaning back away from the table. Blood, and he's thinking blood sacrifice. the slaughter of infants.
The blood of God. I understand that in some churches, wine, it's a sacrament of some kind. Is that right?
I understand. We must conduct a service. We must conduct a mass.
Yes, you conduct a mass, and that will, you get the whole village here to be thinking about this while we go, and you'll concentrate all of the heaven's light there, and we'll go about our ways and in the darkness that's left behind when you gather all the light into the village, and it'll bring it all out. And Bryn is like rambling on to be like, holy shit, Wulfric's brought up blood again in front of people.
and while Bryn is saying that, Wulfric kicks Bryn under the table.
Can I suggest that you try to kick Bryn? Instead, you kick Regenmaer.
Yeah, fair enough.
Regenmaer's actually going to interject at this point, and if we're going stomping around that bloody marsh, we're not doing it in the dark.
Let me tell you both about the word metaphor at some point. You understand what I'm talking about, though, right, Father?
I think he does. What he's imagining, I think, is that tomorrow he must get everyone in the village to attend an open air mass. And should this be by the riverbank? Should I stand in the river? How should I bring God's power?
Yes, you should stand in the marshes. You need to be, into the brackish water. And Bryn is in no way believing any of this, but he just thinks it will be hilarious to get an entire village full of holy people to stand in some brackish water for a bit. Because as far as he's concerned, who knows if the river's even significant in the slightest.
The mischievous Fae, the streak of Fae in him is strong. Yeah. So that is what Father Ceganos thinks that you're asking him to do. And as he describes this, and Bryn is nodding enthusiastically. Cuthred, what do you make of all of this?
I think I'll say to the abbot, so are there ruins in the marsh? Is there a map of what the town used to look like we could see?
No map. I can probably point out where I think they are, but as a novice here, we never ventured into the marsh. Some of the people who then lived here made a living out of the marsh, trapping eels and the like.
Does anyone in town venture into the marsh?
I don't think so. I think sometimes the children play in the river and the like, and we water the animals. The water's a little brackish, but it's drinkable.
All right, I'll stand up and say, children, if you know something about the marsh, tell me, and you may pat my goat. Toad, come here.
This is in the abbot's hut. We're having this conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll wander outside and then say, children, come to me, come and pet Toad, my goat. Tell me of the marsh. And
it's dark. So you are summoning children from their homes in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Have we mistaken who's the loon?
Maybe this takes place in the morning afterwards.
I was going to say.
Regenmaer is fairly certain we have 3 loons at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
all right,
3
so maybe
loons of
there's
that.
there's no response. So he'll think, oh well, I'll try in the morning.
And the abbot looks is on the one hand he wants to believe that this is that, but on the other hand he's beginning to worry about your credentials.
As he goes out, as Cuthred goes out, I just say Cuthred goes out. He goes, such a holy man, that one. Blessed are the children, and he never forgets it.
Yes, very well.
Yes, they're strange out west, I do actually have a completely off the cuff thing, which is that the reason for getting them all in one place is that this will give me some sort of privacy to use my use power move at some point.
Okay. I should. I've just noticed in the chat. I should have pointed out that normally there is end of session experience because this is a one shot. if you hit any of those kind of flags that would earn you end of session experience, click that and give yourself the experience straight away. So, invoke your reputation, whatever, put yourself at risk to indulge your burden. Certainly Bryn did that. I think that probably we've seen Wulfric address a challenge with irrationality. Yeah. Most of Regenmaer's are around violence, so we've not seen that yet. I think that, in fairness, I think Cuthred's common sense approach of trying to get round behind the person observing them was a decent use of common sense, rather than just charging up to them. So you can only get one for those. So mark those off as those flags as having been met. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So next morning, and the Father Abbot sends his remaining 2 novices around the village, saying, we're not, don't go to the fields, don't do anything else. Come down to the river. In what passes for his full vestments, which is a nothing more than an attractively embroidered stole, and one of the novices carrying the cross from the church, the wooden cross from the church. He leads the villagers down to the river, and heads off downriver towards the marsh, which I think is what you were looking for, Bryn. Was that? Yeah. So as far as you can see, everyone has left the village.
Well, this is I think a key time for us, to anyone who wanted to poke around the village without prying eyes. But Bryn's major one is to go to that fairy ring, which is now free of any observers, and see if I can commune with Golfana. And I have never used to use power in Eotenweard before.
Okay.
I was probably going to go with divine the best path to give us a solid place to go, where to find more information, kind of thing. But
okay.
I don't want to shortcut anybody else's stuff. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I could get this, and then it could drive us down a path. So
okay, so let's go round the table, and we'll come to Bryn last. So Wulfric, what do we see Wulfric doing as the people leave? The Father Abbot doesn't question the fact you're not coming. He knows you're not Christians, so he doesn't question.
I am coming.
Oh, you are, right. So Wulfric is, and so the villagers, the Father Abbot, his 2 novices, they're heading down.
Wulfric, are you sure you should go? I mean, all that stuff about blood and everything, I don't think it'll go down well if you just, maybe you should stay here.
No, I want to see that. All those fools walking into the marsh and maybe never come out again.
Okay, I was just trying to set up that what should I do thing for you there.
When someone offers you sensible advice on what you should do, and you then, well, you've already got advantage around something to do with the river, so we're none the wiser on that one. So Wulfric follows on at the back of the procession. Yeah. As I say, perhaps 20 or 30 villagers, children, women, men, the 2 novices, and the Father Abbot. And Wulfric goes with them. So we'll come to what you see in a bit. What about Regenmaer?
I think Regenmaer is going to do another circuit of the village now that everyone's kind of gotten up and heading for the marsh. He's going to do a walk around the outside of the village and attempt to see if there's any strange tracks or anything out of the ordinary. Anything strange about the animals that they're keeping. Are there any areas where the sheep aren't grazing or that sort of thing?
Okay, that sounds like look about me. So roll with sense.
So that is no bonus. I believe that's.
I was thinking of going with him.
Uh,
I was thinking of going with him with my goat, and he can sniff while he looks, sort of thing.
Okay, so Regenmaer, what was that?
That's an 8 total.
An 8. Okay, so you can ask me one question. What's the focus of your inquiry?
Is there anything physically out of the ordinary? Is there something that has disturbed the area or caused a physical reaction that would be unusual? As I was saying before, like the animals avoiding somewhere. Are there traps? Is there?
I have to say no. No, it looks like a perfectly ordinary, small, not very wealthy hamlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cuthred, is there anything else you want to do with Regenmaer as you're wandering around the village or walking the
No.
perimeter?
Yeah, I mean the goat's smelling stuff. So if there's nothing that would stick out smelling wise, then yeah, no, I'm just going with him.
Okay. So let's cut down to the where the river just divides out into the marsh, and everyone's gathered on the bank, and the Father Abbot kneels and prays, and then stands, and with the 2 novices, he walks out into the marsh, and he says, "Come, people, come, my people, come, wet your feet, that we may have a mass that takes place in these waters, which the guardians, the Eotenweard, tell me are where the focus of the strife that has beset us is to be found." And they conduct a mass. Wulfric, what do you do?
I stand by and watch. I want to check in with you because the way I see it, Wulfric sort of has been touched by the gods, and sometimes the gods work in mysterious ways through him. So I was wondering if I could use ghostly hands to make the abbot float.
I think you can certainly give him the sensation of rising up. I doubt you can make him walk on water because he's quite a big object, but I certainly am prepared for you to use your gift to do that. So in this circumstance, will you sacrifice blood or honor to your gods? Owe them a debt or mark wounded?
I think it's more of an honor type thing.
Okay, so owe your gods a debt. And roll with soul.
Okay, so my soul is 0. Okay, that didn't work. It's a 6.
Right. Okay. Well, you mark experience.
Oh, I've got a +1, right? Because of the river.
Well, actually, you re-roll the lowest of those 2 dice.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
It couldn't be a 1 again, could it? No, there you go.
It's a 9.
It's a 9. So on 7 to 9, you succeed, but the GM chooses 1 from you attract unwelcome attention. Your gift has a broader effect than you expected. Your gift takes more from you than you had expected. As you try to channel your gift from your gods to make this happen, the water begins to ripple around the abbot. But I'm guessing you're at the back of this. You're still on dry land, and they're facing away from you. He's facing towards you. And I think that you can see this ripple spreading from the abbot towards you. And the people who are praying, they can feel the waters, this wave moving away from the abbot towards them. and you get the distinct impression that something has noticed you. But of course, the abbot thinks that this is an act of God. And so the mass is becoming exultant and excited by the very fact that he has empowered the waters as our Lord did on the Sea of Galilee.
Yes.
Bryn, let's cut to you at this juncture.
Yes. I head to the Fae Ring, and I look around me carefully to see that there is nobody watching, and I say, I kneel down and I say, Gofala, mistress, I seek your help and your wisdom. I owe them a debt, I believe.
Or you can shed blood for them, so you can mark wounded, or you can owe them a debt.
I will. Mark wounded would mean 2 ticks on my boxes, right?
No, just 1 on the wounded box. None of the wounded boxes.
You know, I'll go with that since I'm already at -1 to the.
Okay,
yeah.
Need to have 1 in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we see when you invoke Gofana then? You know, you take a knife and what?
Yeah, I take my my seax and slice across my palm because it's, you know, the stupidest place to cut but the most cinematic. And I think that as the blood drips out, it glimmers golden. You know, it looks like normal blood at first, and as it enters the fairy ring, it glimmers golden. And,
okay.
Shines.
And we see this blood running, you know, pooling in a buttercup, and taking on this golden buttery, and then you roll plus soul.
Let's hope I succeed. I have a +3, so you'd hope so, wouldn't you? That's a 9, so I do just about succeed.
So you succeed, and so the effect you want, and you'll find the list of effects at the very bottom of your character keeper, the range of options. You did tell me, but I've forgotten.
It was, if I understand this bit of the wording right, divine the best path, as in like, you know, where should we go to kind of get to the nugget of things. I'm curious, does the 7 to 9 have any mixed results on this?
The mixed result is that happens. Yeah, so you get your effect, you will get some guidance. The flip side is that I will choose that your gift takes more from you than you had expected, and I would have you mark wounded a second time.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think Gafala is also irate with me because you know, her whole thing is offering the very desperate a chance for their children, and I actually helped nurse a sickly family back to health rather than
and gift her their child.
Yes.
Yeah, she will get properly irate when you owe her more than 2.
Yes.
Because debts above 2, I can then begin to use to make her do bad things to you. So yes, what guidance do you get? Let me think. You can smell the salt sea, and you can see, you get a vision as if you are looking at the mass that's taking place. We, the audience, have seen this mass, and what you see is a view as though you are looking just above the level of the water from further out in the marsh. You are looking at, you are seeing it from someone or something's point of view.
Yes, and I think that as it goes around and as the eyes of this view lock onto, you know, they go past Wulfric at this mass, and then it locks on a child there.
Okay.
And I think that's when Bryn like staggers backwards in the circle, grips his sword, and yells out for the other two in the village.
So Bryn shouting, Regenmaer, Cuthred! Do you come running, Regenmaer?
Absolutely. Finally, I might get to hit something. That sounded energetic.
Turns out the loon might have been right.
And so do we see you running to the river?
Now.
Do we see you running to the river?
That's certainly my my intent, to run to the
Wulfric.
river.
Yeah, I just have a question because what I've got from the scene is that we just sort of endangered one of the children, and that would be a line.
It would be a line.
Oh, I'm not saying the children's actually in danger. I'm saying it was more dramatic.
Okay.
You know, I'm not saying that the monster has to come and rip the. It's more the sort of, you know.
It gives Gofana a reason to have given you that vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the we must save the children. You know, I was looking for anyone vulnerable that we cared about. Children are shorthand for you care about them, right? Like,
and in fairness, that vision drifted across Wulfric. So Wulfric,
it was more a case Bryn doesn't care if Wulfric gets eaten so much as a kid, I guess.
I think at the point where the three of you are running, the quarter of a mile to get to where the mass is taking place, is probably the perfect opportunity for our second commercial break. It's 24 past the hour. Shall we be back in our seats at 1/2 the hour?
Cool.
Okay, I'll pause the recording. Back after our second break. And we left Bryn, Regenmaer, and Cuthred running down towards the marsh where the mass is taking place. Wulfric is already down there. But for the sake of, though he's not here, I know that Bryn has preternatural speed when he chases up. There is Bryn.
I hit unmute rather than start video.
Okay. So Bryn, I was just saying you have preternatural speed. Do you choose to display it?
I do, yes, because I'm worried about this. For the sake of like the meta stuff, I'm hoping to arrive in time to stop anything rather than.
Okay.
You know.
So Bryn is going to arrive with time to do something before Regenmaer and Cuthred arrive. Wulfric, everyone is exultant. God has moved the waters. They're getting terribly excited, but then you see, like the wind, Bryn is running down the slope towards you. What do you do, Wulfric?
I have a smirk on my face. And I'd be really careful to not stand in the water, to have solid ground underneath my feet.
And that is what I think Bryn sees, as you kind of give him this smirk as you look over your shoulder. And Regenmaer and Cuthred, are you just running flat out, or is there anything else that I need to know about your approach? Regenmaer?
Regenmaer is going to be running flat out, because Bryn, I believe, said that he had drawn his weapon. So that implies that Regenmaer wants to be wherever the hell Bryn is at the moment. And I think Regenmaer, in the absence of a clear target, and having experienced the fact that sometimes the things that we have to fight are kind of hard to find, is just going to have drawn his hand axe at this point.
Okay. Cuthred, are you? Is Goat charging after you?
No. Goat is casually taking his time. So it's camera shot of us two running, camera shot of Goat casually taking his time. Just repeat those two shots again and again.
Okay. But what is your intention when you arrive, Cuthred, unless circumstances change?
I'm going to leap into the water and start thrashing around with my cudgel.
Okay. Bryn, what is your intention? Because you're going to get to this. You see Wulfric kind of smiling at you as you head down towards the congregation, who are up to their thighs in marsh water. What is it you do when you arrive, Bryn? Oh, you muted yourself again.
Yeah, I arrive and I look and I try and get myself into the position of where the view came from.
Using the child as the kind of triangulation point, and Wulfric.
Yeah, child Wulfric line, and I step into the waters with my sword, like poking in the water with my sword as I go.
The congregation is, you're still behind the congregation. They're ignoring you unless you do something else.
No, at the moment, it's not get out of the water. I'm not going to do the Jaws type.
I did wonder whether the mayor had arrived on the scene. But Wulfric, you wanted to interject, I think.
Absolutely. I waited for the moment when my companions arrive. At that point, I raise my hands. Hang on a second, because Cuthred and Regenmaer aren't there yet. So I just want to check with Bryn. Yeah. Is this tentative poking about, or are you heading out into the marsh?
I'm heading into the marsh. The waters of the marsh.
So
I'm like wading into the waters and poking with my sword.
Fine. Towards the point where you thought you were being observed from.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Right. Then I think Regenmaer and Cuthred begin to approach Wulfric, and all three of you can see that Bryn has walked out into the marsh. I think probably some of the congregation have noticed, but they are mostly still praising God loudly for the miracle of the waters. Wulfric.
When the other two arrive, I just will raise my hand. I've got my stuff in one of the hands, and then I just yell out, "Let it begin!" And I just smash my staff into the water and expect nothing to happen.
Nothing does happen. I don't think that's no one's offered you sensible advice about what you should do there, but I see where you're trying to get. Regenmaer, I think that as the obviously more athletic of the two, you will arrive at the edge of the marsh next. What do you do?
Bryn, how aggressive are you being? Are you gearing up for a fight? Are you moving your sword around and fairly aggressive? There's something here I need to find, or are you being a little bit more circumspect?
I mean, I don't know what's here. I don't know. It's that kind of like cautiously probe. Like you'd be like, in the modern day, this would be where you're sort of like fumbling around with a flashlight in a dark cellar.
It sounded like tentative to me.
Tentative, yes.
Okay.
Definitely not like, get out of the water. What's going on? However, Regenmaer arrives is obviously.
Regenmaer, what do you do?
Regenmaer is going to pull out his axe and then run the edge of the blade down his upper arm, so blood starts flowing down his left arm. Grip both hands on his great axe and call to Woden. Woden, show me my foe. He's going to wound himself to use his true path ability.
Fine. So this is roll plus soul, mark wounded, and roll plus soul.
Okay. That's a 5.
Okay. So you don't at all notice when the Marsh Drake attacks you. You are focused on looking at, you think that Woden is going to tell you to follow Bryn out there. Whereas in fact, a ripple arrows in from one side. And you take 2 points of harm. Do you have any protection?
I do not believe so. I didn't choose any protection.
Fine.
I don't think I get any base, do I?
No, you don't. So mark mark wearied and another wounded.
Okay.
And you go down in a flailing, iridescent, silvery, serpentine mass. Cuthred, what do you do?
Yeah, I was going to run up and jump in the water and thrash around my thing. So if I can see that, I'll
you do.
jump towards that.
Fine. So you race in to save Regenmaer. Wulfric, what are you doing? Because it has begun.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I haven't expected it, so I'm just standing there, and at first I'm like really confused, and then I realize that it was my prophecy, and I start yelling, "I told you there was salt in the water!"
I think that probably panic is now setting in with the congregation, because not only have they seen this slightly odd Bryn going out past them, so some of them are looking past the Father Abbot now to seeing Bryn tentatively going out into the waters. But now Regenmaer has charged into the water beside them, heading in the same direction as Bryn, and suddenly gone down in this flailing mass. And somebody is going to scream, "There's something in the water!" And they begin to stumble out. Children are gathered up. The Father Abbot is saying, "Seek safety on the land, seek safety on the land." Regenmaer, let's come round to you. No, Bryn, because this will now draw your attention back behind you.
Yes. What, the villagers running away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you will see Regenmaer kind of, wrestling with this serpentine.
Well, I run in to attack it, to help him.
So you're going to come back. So Cuthred will get to it first, but Regenmaer, I think that this is down to you in the first instance. Are you going to assault your foe with violence?
I am going to assault my foe with all the violence I can bring to bear.
I think this counts as address a challenge with violence or its threat. And let's see if you also land the first blow on this thing.
Okay.
So this is roll plus steel.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a 5, including my +2 steel.
Including your +2 steel? That's impossible. Surely not. Oh my God. Woden.
My last 4 dice rolls to being below a 3.
Well, but on the upside, this is marking up a lot of experience.
Fair.
Who knows? Before this kills you, you may have found a patchwork of armor. So you on 7 plus you would exchange harm, but because you failed, you take another 2 points of harm. So mark the next condition box, and then I think go to the next line, which says
dying.
Yes. You are taking an absolute drubbing from this thing. Cuthred, you will be next. What do you do as you wade into the water?
Yeah, I'm trying to protect Regenmaer, and I've got a thing about stand behind me. So I'm trying to get its attention, and I'm thrashing it out, trying to get it. So I roll a subtle, I gather, instead.
You do, to try to get Regenmaer to realize that if he were to just do this, just push it towards me, maybe it would not take a chunk out of his leg.
I don't think that moved again. I'm going to do 2 new ones. Stuff it. That's fantastic. 4.
Oh my God.
Come at me.
Exactly. While its jaws lock onto Regenmaer, it's the sharp spines along its tail whip round and inflict 2 points of harm on you, Cuthred, starting from wearied and working your way down and across. There is blood in the water. Wulfric, you're nearest.
Yeah.
Do you do anything?
Yeah, I start mumbling, "The storytellers never tell the stories, where the poor fool needs to drag the heroes out of the water because they don't know how to fight." And I just rush in, and I think as Regenmaer seems to be, yeah, he's obviously hurt real bad. I just try to grab maybe his hair, whatever I can grab first, and drag him out of the water.
Okay. So this, I think this is probably face danger with
Yeah.
steel to try and extract Regenmaer from this situation.
With
Yeah.
steel.
Yeah, because I think this is about
Okay.
harsh physical action.
Okay. That is a -1, so yeah.
Oh well, do you want to think again then?
No. I'm happy to fail as well and see a total party kill here in the marsh.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, it was a 7, but with the -1, it's a 6.
Well,
I don't
now
have.
this
can I help
may
out?
be where I talk about there are ways to alter these rolls, folks. I wasn't quite expecting to get this dangerous this fast. If you look at the basic move, there's a thing called when you invoke your reputation.
Oh yeah.
You can owe your god a debt in order to improve the outcome. And also there's one of the debt moves, which you can erase a debt of honor to someone when you help or hinder as if you had rolled a 12+. So if someone were to spend a debt they had with Wulfric that Wulfric held on them, it would allow them to improve Wulfric's roll by 1 full step from fail to partial success.
I owe Wulfric for saving me.
Okay.
So I think with my preternatural speed, I am miles away. And as this is going wrong for Wulfric, Bryn is just suddenly like a light, in a blink of an eye, just in there.
Right. Preternaturally, you arrive on the scene. Happily,
It's almost like I'm walking, if you were looking, it's like I'm skimming over the water practically.
Oh, that's oh so terribly Lord of the Rings
Blasphemous
Hobbit
as
movie.
well.
Hobbit
yeah.
movie.
I'm also an elf walking on water in front of Christians.
Happily, the chaos of the villagers will probably mean they just don't notice. So that improves Wulfric's outcome from a fail to a marginal success, which means that yes, I think you do drag Regenmaer away from the Drake, but the hard choice, no, I think the complication is that you can get him out, but you push him out, leaving you in the water. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have Bryn, Wulfric, and Cuthred now around this thing. Regenmaer is kind of just on the bank. Regenmaer, you can tell me what you do in a moment, but I think I'm going to go back round to Cuthred.
Quick camera shot of the goat still taking its time, and then Cuthred's trying to bash it. He's trying to get its attention still.
Okay, so this is, you want to do harm to it, or do you want to draw it away?
I'm trying to harm it. I'm trying to finish it off.
Okay, so this is
not
assault
that big.
your foe. Assault your foe with violence, roll plus steal, unless you have a move that does something else.
Yeah, they didn't move again. This dice roller doesn't like me. Yeah, still 7. Okay, so 7 straight.
Okay, 7+. You exchange harm, so you will take 2 points of harm from this thing, but you will inflict whatever harm you have. What harm are you doing? Oh, you've suddenly made
using my cudgel, so 1.
1. Okay.
Yep.
So mark 2 conditions, starting at wearied and working your way down into the right.
Yeah, I'm in a world of pain at the minute.
Okay. It doesn't sound like you are alone. Wulfric. No, let me go to Bryn. Bryn.
Bryn would like to become this thing's target, effectively, like lead it on a merry chase through the river. He can see that his mortal friends are being mullered by this thing. And,
okay, and how do you think you do that?
I think by using my preternatural speed to dash past him and like splash around in the water and like just lead them away, facing the danger trying to face the danger on my own.
So that sounds like steal, or are you trusting to the protection of the gods?
I think I'm very much trusting towards Gofana's blessings upon my ability as a changeling to keep ahead of it.
So do you reveal more of your true self to it?
Yeah, I think I do. I think and perhaps to my companions as well.
Aha.
Okay.
So what does that look like? We've not spent a lot on the special effects budget. So what do you want the audience to see?
I think it is as it whips into Cuthred and sends him back, and he's bopped it, and it's like hissing above him. There's like a glowing light off the edge of the camera.
Yeah.
And you see Bryn stood there with his longsword, like glowing like from within, kind of like light streaming out from his mouth and his eyes. And
roll plus soul.
Yeah. That is an 11.
That is a good result. On 7+, on 10+, there's no complication, hard choice, or price to play. The drake's head comes out of the water and just focuses on you and nothing else.
Can I say so? I think as he screams out something, it sounds exactly like the same noise that the drake was making. Changelings are able to mimic people and things, apparently.
They are, but you're not going to use that glamour now, are you? That one.
No. It's
okay.
more just a flavor.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretend to be a drake. I didn't think you would. So, Regenmaer, you're on the bank, and you are currently in a world of pain. What do we see you doing?
What can I do at this stage?
If you are roughly handled or overly, active, then you will take another point of. You'll mark more condition. Yeah. So you're not bleeding out, but you are in difficulties.
Okay. I really don't feel like Regenmaer is going to hang back.
Okay.
I think that he is.
You do have that not again move.
I think I'm going to get up and scream at the creature. Is that your best?
And I will remind you, you have the move. Sorry, yes, you are going with this. I was going to remind you about that one, but that's the one you've gone with. Yeah. So you have advantage as you attack this thing, which is now focused on Bryn. So I think there's a chance for you to actually. I'm going to give you an extra +1 on the dice as well, because I would have given you advantage if you didn't already have it.
Well, I think Regenmaer is going to try and do his biggest leap from the bank and try and land on top of this thing without actually having to touch the water. The water hasn't gone well for him to.
Indeed so.
But he's blaming fighting in the water. He's not blaming the fact that the drake completely caught him off guard.
So mark another point of condition and do what you do.
Okay.
Or what you usually do, but have failed miserably to do on this occasion so far.
So it's reroll selected. Wow, that is not great. And reroll the lowest?
Yeah.
It didn't change, so I'm assuming that's another 2. That's an 8 total.
You've added your steel and you've added the +1 I gave you.
I have.
Okay.
Okay. That is another 3 rolls below 3.
I've recently rewritten this move, and I've now realized I've just been forgetting to do things. So on 7+, you exchange harm. So how much harm do you do on it?
I do 3 on it with my great axe.
That will take it out. That will behead it. So I'm not going to inflict any harm on you, and the effect it would have had of wrong footing you or whatever, I think that I think it's gone. I think you've taken it out. I'm happy for that to happen. As you stand there with blood flowing into the water.
I like to imagine that it was like this, like that sort of serpent taming kind of thing, like both me and Bryn staring it down with a light, and as it raises it and hisses, then suddenly Regenmaer goes, blood spatters all over Bryn as well. Like,
I can just see Bryn standing there looking at this beheaded corpse with Regenmaer standing on top of the body. Regenmaer looking Bryn straight in the eye, and then just going straight over forwards, face planting into the water unconscious.
Now, I think that there were several efforts to protect people there, which are worth a debt. So I think that Regenmaer now has an extra debt on Bryn for taking it out when he'd attracted attention. I think Bryn gains a debt on Cuthred, I think, because Cuthred was in the water and Wulfric was in the water. So I think Bryn drew the attention of this Drake towards him and away from them. I think that Cuthred gets a debt on Regenmaer because you tried to protect him. Wulfric, I think you get a debt on Regenmaer because it was seeing Regenmaer in the water that got you in there. Yeah.
Yep.
And this thing is just floating in the water. However, Wulfric, roll to look about you.
That is a +2. Okay. That is a 10 then.
Okay. Then I will tell you something you see, then you can ask me a question about it. In all of this chaos, there's Regenmaer, being helped out of the water, I think, by Bryn and Cuthred. You're standing there looking around, and out in the direction that Bryn was originally heading, you can see something looking at you out of the water from where Bryn got that monster cam view. So, Wulfric, you have a question left to ask me because I've answered the unasked first question.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do I do I actually see something that could help me identify the person or creature?
If you're asking me what is it,
yeah,
I would say it is a big seal.
A big seal.
A smooth round head and those flat forward looking eyes, and then it ducks under the water.
Okay. Then I go, you fools! That was only the beginning. Those marshes are deep.
I think we cut back to the village where Abbot Ceganos is doing his best to treat your wounds. What that takes the form of is Regenmaer can clear dying unless one of you has a healing move. But I don't think anybody took one. Unless,
I have used power.
I was going to say, so you could use power.
If there is an alternative to that.
Well, all that Abbot Ceganos' efforts will do will be to stop him dying. So Regenmaer clears dying,
okay.
But he is still, the rest of his condition track is full.
Well, then I will use my power to heal him. at some point.
Okay, so presumably we're not in the presence of the Father Abbot.
Yes, I'm kind of imagining we're still during the day, right?
Yeah.
We go back to bind him up, and then straight back out on the hunt again. If like brave warriors kind of thing, or at least Regenmaer and me seem like that kind of a. And I will take him with me. I will, pat Regenmaer on the back, and I think you'll see like my hand glow as I.
Okay. Now
I will owe a debt to Thingy to do that.
Fine. Owe debt to Gofana, and roll to make your to use your gift. So roll plus soul.
That is an 8.
So it has the effect. I can't now remember what the effect is.
It is heal someone for 2, erase 2 condition, or cure someone, or clear dying.
Fine. So Regenmaer, you can clear 2 of your wound boxes with that. But let's see.
Could I suggest a temptation?
Yeah, go on. Yeah. I think I am going to tempt, as a cost for that, I'm going to tempt Bryn with wrath.
I'm really bad at look about me then.
You are. I
I
think there's something of the red mist comes down. I think that you were taken in by what Gofana showed you. You took it too literally.
Yeah, well, yes, I think I am wrathful. I'm angry because something is threatening these people and these things. Yes, for sure. Where do I find how to clear temptations?
So you clear a temptation by triggering the disadvantage.
I see.
And then you get the advantage.
I see. Once both have been triggered.
So you have to have rolled look about you before you get the benefit of +1 to assault.
I see. I like
that.
Cool.
Everyone will clear wearied, because that clears by the next scene. So that's just kind of drawing breath. And everyone will clear one of those wound boxes by this time tomorrow, unless anyone wants to again do some more healing, because Cuthred is on the cusp.
Can't heal you both. That's the problem.
I mean, you can.
I mean, can I be -3 with?
Yeah. Once you get to -3, the third one I can use to inflict a combination of a disadvantage, a hard move, or a complication on you at Gofana's whim.
Hey, why
does it have to be on him? Can it be on me? Like I get the healing plus the payment?
Alas, not. Gofana has a relationship with him.
I will happily take that on. I think I think maybe that even would Cuthred perhaps speak to me about the strange sights of the on the glowing within, and it's like, oh, never heard of the Morrigan glowing. Like, did you speak Drake? Like,
yeah.
So that is use your gift again. So again, it's a choice whether it's a debt or blood. Bryn?
I think blood would be self-defeating at this point.
Okay, so owe Gofana an extra debt, and channel her power to help Cuthred by rolling plus soul.
That is an 8 again, but I would like to call in a debt with
the trouble is that a debt is difficult to use for your gift, because it's very much about a personal issue. You could invoke your Fae Changeling reputation at the mere cost of owing Gofana another debt.
Well, I'm on -3 anyways, so it feels like that's already hit the bottom of that particular debt track. No, well, it's an extra cost anyways, isn't it? Which would be...
If you want to check that debt track, it goes all the way down to -6.
Hey, then I feel like the result of my mixed successes anyways owing an extra debt rather than just a 1.
Fine,
debt, you know.
fine. But I'll allow you to invoke Fae Changeling to improve that outcome from a 7 to a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you now owe her 4. Oh, I'll just put that on the shelf with the other one.
Yeah.
And you heal 2 conditions. So Cuthred can clear 2 condition. If you insist on going out again today, then that's the state of play. If you wait overnight, you would clear another 1 each.
Bryn is eager. Bryn is pissed off.
Okay.
He's eager to go out. I mean, other people, you know, party thing, but I feel like they have to play that.
Is anyone going to kind of try and talk Bryn down? Regenmaer, it looks like you're...
Regenmaer's not going to try and talk Bryn down.
Okay, okay.
Regenmaer doesn't go for any well.
Is absolutely on track for that. What about Wulfric?
Wulfric lives up to his reputation and never even came back to the village. He is, ever since he saw that person in the water, he's just standing there and staring at just that very same point. And at dawn, when he realizes...
Oh, well, no, I don't think we're going to get to dawn, because I think that people are going to be down there before dark. I just want to check whether you're restraining them from not taking a rest. Cuthred, what about you?
I'll say to Bryn, look, if you need my help, I will come with you. But if Regenmaer is resting and Wulfric is already out there, we are divided already.
Regenmaer resting? Are you kidding?
No, Regenmaer's up for it, I think.
Yeah, Regenmaer, and he bursts out of the thing, huge and hulking, carrying his thing, and like
bandages.
Yeah. Well, where did that loon run off to? I think we'll find him down by the river. Still, he's not particularly sensible, and neither I'm not feeling very sensible either.
Can I just check? Has Regenmaer really only Mark 2 experience? I thought you failed more times than that.
Have I?
I thought you failed 3 times.
That's what I thought.
And you've done your 2 triggers.
I failed 3 times. I didn't manage to land the first blow.
No, sadly, Cuthred did. Most unlikely.
I do think I addressed that challenge with violence.
You did. So I think you're on 4 experience at the minute.
4 XP? Okay, cool.
Okay. I thought it was better than that.
Would he have invoked his reputation?
I don't think he did.
Oh, his invoke reputation is I see. It's not you acted in accordance with your reputation. It's the actual move of invoking your reputation.
The act of invoking, which you have now done.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, it's too much fate, Alan.
So I'm going to leave two of your flags, Bryn, are marked because you can't remark them in session. Yeah, but I'm going to add a 4th XP for the invoker reputation. So down by the riverside, Wulfric, you're still there when they come down. Have you done anything while they've been away for these several hours? Because dusk is now approaching.
Well, at some point I just got bored waiting, so I thought, why not help with a little blood? If there's a monster out there, that surely will lure it. And I just cut my hand and let some of the blood flow with the water. That salty water. I'm sure it burned.
So are you telling me you want a mark condition? Because I'm not certain which move you're trying to trigger.
I have no idea either. It's just what fictionally makes sense.
Okay. Then I'm not gonna make you mark wearied for that. I think we just see you doing that. Because it doesn't. I get cinematically it's good, but I don't want to bind you mechanically to it.
Well, I could mark weary if you say, well, I have at least another sighting, or like I have some sort of hope to just wait for it. like if some sign or something.
Yeah, and if you had a gift that allowed you to do that, I think that would be fine. But there is no way to mechanize
Okay.
blood other than as a gift. So it sounds like you're looking about you in the hope that you see something.
Apparently that's I'm doing that a lot. So yeah, go with that. Another one. This time it's only a 9.
Okay, so ask me one question, or and I at the bottom of this move, agree with the GM a detail to add to the scene that enriches the fiction, or ask me to do so.
Yeah, I just want something like a sign that the creature is still out there. Yeah, I just want to have some justification for what I'm doing.
Okay,
like, at least
okay.
for myself. Nobody else needs to see it.
The ask me to do so is a way of baiting me to offer you a clue.
Yeah.
So I take the bait. I am hooked on the bait, and you can see this seal coming closer to you and looking at you.
And I'm with a really really quiet and soft voice. I just try to charm it somehow with maybe I start with some tales, and then when I can't remember any more tales, I start with like children's songs and whatnot. Just continue talking to it.
Okay. I think I need to know how well that goes. So that sounds like face danger with subtle.
If you need some narrative fodder, the goat could be with him.
Yeah, but I well, it's a 5 + 1, so it's 6. I failed anyway.
Okay, so I think I will tell you that another seal appears, grabs the seal that you were trying to draw towards you by the back of the neck, and swims away with it.
Yeah, I just need a second to make up a story how that is part of the god's bigger plan.
And so by the time you've come up with that story, Regenmaer, Bryn, and Cuthred have arrived back at the river. It's taken most of the day, really, for the abbot to treat Regenmaer and for the rest of you to kind of just feel up to this. So I think it's probably getting on to late afternoon. It'll be dusk soon. And what Wulfric can tell you is that he thought he was developing a relationship, I think, with one of these, with this seal. And then a larger seal appeared, grabbed it by the back of the neck, and swam away to stop it coming closer.
I think the gods spoke to me, and they told me that we need to guide these villagers to another place. This is not the place for them to live. We need to drag them away if they want or not.
Right. What do these gods look like then, Wulfric?
They look like seals.
Like seals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now,
you know how the gods are. They like to dress in animal form.
I do not think we should be following any gods that look like seals.
it's like those gods that you saw in those rats in the last village. Or the ones that look like dogs in that town. Or
Should not have followed those either. That did not go well.
Well, but we got the clue from them. Like we knew that something bad was happening. So
my feeling is
I was right after all.
The Abbey stood for centuries. These villagers, you can't always get mortals to do what's sensible.
But would we want them to be in? Yeah, well, they will be raided again and again and again because this is a place for our God and not for the Christian God. They shouldn't be here.
Would it have been a Christian church during the Roman time, I suppose?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has. We do know that it has stood for centuries without. Perhaps that burning it down weakened its hold on whatever and allowed the things in. Well, actually, no. I can convince people of whatever the hell I want them to do. So I leave it with the party to decide what approach we take. Because I'm angry. I really want to stop whatever these things are from attacking.
Cuthred, what is the commonsensical commoner have to offer?
I'll say maybe we could talk to these creatures and offer them a deal. Maybe we could offer them a favor or threaten them. I don't know. Maybe do something to make them stop hassling these people. Give them trade our services or kill them.
Am I seeing you aiming to set up fear not, master, I will? When you are alone and look about you to investigate somewhere or something risky, you can always ask one question, even if you roll 6-. Is this Cuthred angling for? Don't worry, I'll go and talk to them, master. I'm just asking.
Yeah, that works for me.
You stay here and defend the village. I'll go sort this out. Don't worry about it, lads.
So
Woden and I have a good idea, and head out with the goat.
So you wade with Toad the goat, who after as you get up kind of to your waist and you're wading out into this, are the rest of you watching him go?
I'm gonna wait until he actually gets out a little way, then I'm gonna clap Bryn on the back. Well, we've got bait now.
Do wish you'd stop calling them that.
And so Cuthred, you're out there. You are, as it says in the move, you look about you to investigate somewhere or something risky. You're out there now, up to your chest. Toad is kind of dog paddling next to you. Roll to look about you.
All right, I think I'll sort of crouch down and hum because I don't know. I think it feels like the right thing to do.
Okay.
I'll look about you. This thing is not like an already used dice. What's going on? Yellow. It's just keeping the same rolls. Right. Holy crap.
Oh, well, I think you might take that one, might you?
I got a 12 regardless. So even if it's sold, it's 11. So holy crap.
So on a 10+, you can ask me 2 things, or you can create a detail, or ask me to do so. And you will roll with advantage if you then act on the answers you received. With a 12.
So look about you. I don't know. I thought maybe one of them gives something away. Like I see one of them and they've got a necklace of one of the old villagers, or they're staring at someone's something. They give away a tell, so to speak.
Okay. I think that a seal bobs up in the marsh again, looking at you, and as you hum and attract, and just making calming noises, it rolls onto its back and rolls, and it has a marking on its chest that looks remarkably like a cross. Would you like to ask me another question? Because you have 2 to ask me.
Something the same.
Can I ask? Can I suggest one, Blake?
Well,
Yeah, go for it.
I usually wait until somebody asks, I think. So, Blake,
Yeah.
do you have a question, or do you want to throw it open?
No, I'll throw it open.
Just thinking, who put that cross? There, you know?
I think, I mean, but that's a question I can't really answer, can I? I mean, you could ask me a question like, what does this make me think of?
I was just going to say, can you add another detail to the scene in case we're missing something?
Well, I won't add it to the scene. I will add it to something that dawns on you, is that you were here because of 2 missing novices.
I'll say, come forward in peace. We seek peace, an end to fighting. Please come forward and talk with us.
And I think because you can only use ask to do something on mortal NPCs, and this is clearly at this point not a mortal NPC, but you can use subtle to face danger to try to encourage it towards you.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
and the 3 of you on the bank will see this happening. He's out there up to his chest. This seal is kind of interested.
Is the seal hostile? Is the question. Is it making any indication?
Let me see how close it gets to Cuthred. So what do we
6.
Mark experience.
I'd like to help at that point.
Okay, by doing what?
I mean, I've been watching over the marshes all the time, and I've been trying to remember any myth I've ever heard about seals and selkies and whatnot. And this time, I'm not trying to interpret anything. I'm just acting according to a myth I've heard. That there could be like a certain offering you have to give them to charm them, or yeah. I'm
Okay.
not really familiar with the lore here.
No. And you are inventing the lore as you go. So what lore do you want to invent?
I mean, I imagine this could be some sort of a curse. So if we want to see their human form, we need to find what they have lost in order to for them to be able to take on the human form again. So there needs to be something hidden in the marshes, and I just try to find it with like my.
That doesn't sound like you're helping Cuthred in the moment.
Just curious, but does Cuthred have advantage from his previous very high roll?
Oh, yes, I think he does, I think he does. Yeah, because you rolled a 12, didn't you? You roll with advantage, so you can re-roll the lowest dice. Thank you for the reminder, Adam. Or given you're having trouble re-rolling, replace that one and roll another whole fresh dice. Aha!
Right, so that makes it 8.
8.
10. Actually 10, because I've got 2 subtles, so 10.
Okay, so 10. So I think that you screw your courage to the sticking point. There is no complication. This thing comes towards you and is now really up close, and you can almost reach out and touch it. What are you going to do? It seems to want to be with you.
I'll gently trace my finger where the cross is.
And it crosses its front limbs across the cross as though to embrace it.
I'll say, do you understand me?
And it nods its head.
I'll say the others. I think this is the novices have been changed or cursed or something. Well, what do we do?
And that seems to be the perfect point for our next commercial break. It's 24 minutes past the hour. Can we be back in our chairs at past? Okay, sure. I will pause the recording. Back for our last session. So, I think Cuthred, I don't think you can kind of carry the seal out the water, but I think you have a hypothesis about what you think is going on here. So do you want to share that with us, Cuthred?
Yeah, so I think these are the novices. They've been cursed or changed in some way. I know not why. Wulfric, do you have insights on this?
Tell me something I didn't know already. They must have found a relic or something similar, or performed a ritual. They left something from their former life behind at a place they shouldn't have encountered. So I expect if we find those lost treasures of them, we will be able to restore them to their human form. So
crystal clear.
If you don't mind, let that seal swim and search the mud.
Well, he's my hero, so I'll search the mud.
So you let and you will have noticed, Cuthred, there is a second seal observing all of this. And as you kind of just push the other one slightly away so you can dive down. I think this is face danger with steel out there up to your chest as you dive under the water.
Okay. Is there a colour I haven't rolled yet? Green. That'll do. 9 plus what the hell is my steel? Nothing. So 9.
9. I mean, what are you looking for?
Like a stone shrine or idol or something, maybe.
I think that you will find. Perhaps you will find some of the foundation stones of the previous Roman stone building out here. So I think that the benefit you get from that is that you have identified the location of the original Roman church. Yeah. But I think it's, in terms of finding something that might have belonged to a novice, I think that's a pretty vague ask. But because you didn't roll a 10, there is a complication, hard choice or price to pay. The hard choice is you could work out exactly the details of the layout of this, but I am going to get you trapped in some weed if you do so. Oh no, I'm going to get Toad the goat trapped in some weed if you do.
No.
Fine. So
no, the goat's too important.
It goes off in that direction, but you have no idea how extensive or its plan. Fine. And I think then we'll cut to the bank where I'm wondering, Regenmaer, I'm always curious what the Hammer of the Gods makes of this and how you turn this into a nail to hit.
Regenmaer's going to turn to Bryn. We're not allowed to hit the heels.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure that the seals were really all that connected with the Drake. It feels like maybe they're victims of a curse as well. But there may be other things to hit. I mean, you can hit Wulfric if he suggests anything like, you know, slaughter the children of God to free the world back to the rule of nature or something like that.
So you're pretty sure that hitting things will still help, right? I'm gonna grab my axe in my hands. I'm gonna raise it up in front of myself, and I am going to incur a debt to my god to attempt to find the true path to whatever I can hit to solve this.
Well, now let's be specific here. The true path to something you can hit to solve this. Yeah,
yes.
That is how you're phrasing your desire to Woden.
That is exactly. I want to know what I can hit that will move the plot forward.
Where can he find righteous battle? I suppose.
Well,
I think maybe I can hit a shrine or something.
Oh yeah.
So I think you owe Woden a debt. Increase the debt you owe by 1 to your gods, and roll plus soul.
Cool. And my soul is +1. That is 9.
I'm sorry, that's not a failure. You can't have any more experience. So on a 9, what it says is okay. So can I kind of just build on this? I think you toss the axe into the air, knowing that whichever way the blades come down facing, that is where you should go. Yeah.
Yep.
And it lands pointing back to the village.
Right. I'm going to pick up my axe. I'm going to nod to Bryn. I'm going to look at Wulfric, look back at Bryn, and then just not engage Wulfric.
But I will tell you that on a 7+, you attract unwelcome attention. And the unwelcome attention is that you will see a dozen seals surface in the marsh looking at you.
We're sure we can't hit the seals, right? Because you're becoming a target-rich environment.
There's are there more than 2 of them?
Well, remember, I think that I can't remember if it's Cuthred or Wulfric saw one of. That's right. When Wulfric was trying to charm one of these, get one of them to come closer, a larger seal came and grabbed it and swam away with it.
So there's 2 novices here and more weirdness, essentially. Yeah.
You know, quite possibly survivors of the original raid.
So Bryn, looks around and says, "It's going to be up to me to talk our way out of this again, isn't it? I'm going to owe Gofala so much, and I'm hoping to use my."
I'm going to clap Bryn on the shoulder. No, Woden is showing me the way. We go back to the village and we hit things.
And he looks at you with a sort of like, "Oh God, no, not again."
So I'm seeing. Oh, go on.
And I think then another hand latches onto your other shoulder and says, "Yeah, I think we should turn that church upside down, literally."
And Bryn looks out at the most sensible member of his party, who is a man with a goat in the middle of a swamp surrounded by seals.
You need to look at the goat if you're looking at the most sensible member of the party.
Yeah, eyes lock on it and then shift down to the goat. Yeah. Just because this is a thing that I have never really seen come into use, particularly in Monster of the Week or anything, I would, if it's possible, I would like to go even further into debt to Golfana and communicate with someone or something without words.
Aha. So you want to increase your debt to Golfana to 5?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty much, I have a feeling I know what the epilogue of this adventure is going to be for Bryn.
Okay. Okay. And then owe your debt owe your gods a debt and roll with soul. She won't take that debt. She will simply force you to roll with disadvantage.
Okay.
Just does his dead like reveal his nature? Like, does he start to glow a bit?
Well, I think what we said was that when his seeming cracked, we saw a little flicker of the inner true form, and when he invoked his changelingness, I think we saw that. So far, all we've seen, I think, is that there is a slight inner glow to the eyes. Is there any more than that?
I mean, I think that the major one at this point will be that if this works, I will start speaking in Seal, which is
Okay.
a fairly weird thing to happen. And I do, because I get a 9 even with disadvantage.
Oh wow. Okay, so 7 to 9. So who do you want to communicate with?
The seal with. Do I want to communicate with the seal with the cross or the larger seal who seems to be in charge of things? I want to communicate with the larger seal that seems to be in charge of things, on the assumption that the seal with the cross may be, like most holy men, have a completely back topsy-turvy understanding of the situation.
Okay, so you focus on the larger seal you can see, and you cast your mind out, and begin to speak in tongues, in effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that.
But I suppose what I'm communicating in the sort of the summary of it is that we are here for these two. They were taken. The village needs to live in peace. What could have caused this, and how do we do this peacefully with you?
Okay. I think I'm going to have you attract unwelcome attention shortly.
Sure.
So what the seal speaks back to you is these are tribute offered to us.
Of their own will?
That is not for us to say.
Who offered you this tribute?
The priestess.
Would you take anything else in return?
We would accept other tribute to allow the fish to return.
I see. Oh, interesting. I think I've got the. These novices were offered as tribute to allow the fish to support the village for the thing. Okay, cool.
And
right.
That's when you see Brother Ambrose looking down from the slight slope at you. And you've not heard him say anything so far. And he screams, "Witch!" turns on his heel and runs back towards the village.
Hit him! Hit him!
I hit him.
So Regenmaer, you're chasing after the disfigured priest.
Yep.
Cuthred, I'm going to assume that you're clambering out the water.
Yeah. Me and Toad will get out of the water.
And do what?
We'll follow Regenmaer and just try and keep an eye on both to see what's going on.
Okay, Wulfric.
Does it seem that Regenmaer will be able to catch up? Or does he need some help?
I think so, because this old man is both disfigured and badly harmed in the raid. So I think he's probably hobbling along. So I think Regenmaer may well get to him first before he gets to the village. But he is shouting at the top of his lungs. Mm. So what do you do, Wulfric?
Then I turn to Bryn and say, I am blessed by the gods. This offer should do. And then I just stand there with widespread arms.
And Just stand there.
I expect Brian to sacrifice my body in exchange for all the others, because I think I'm quite important enough to be enough of a sacrifice for a whole bunch of other folks.
Okay. Right. So you have another offering, Bryn, if the time comes. But Regenmaer, you're closing on Brother Ambrose, and he is attracting attention from the village. So what do you do as you come up to him?
Well, Bryn did tell me to hit him, but he's also an old man, and he's not really a threat. So I'm probably going to do the raise the great axe above my head, extremely threatening manner, and I just tap him with the hilt.
I'm not going to make you roll for that, because I think that is fine. I think he just goes down in a heap. But you can see people in the village now, only about 50 yards away, pointing and shouting, "They've attacked Brother Ambrose!" Cuthred, you will catch up to Regenmaer as he's standing over Cuthred's under Ambrose's unconscious body.
Can I bandage him?
You can certainly make sure the old man is okay. So you can express care for the old man. Bryn, Wulfric seems to be making an offer, but I'm conscious that you can see Regenmaer just at the top of the brow before you'll be able to see the village, standing over the downed Father Ambrose.
I go shit, and I just say to the seal. I look at Wulfric, I look back at the seal, and I say, "It's up to you." and I say, "This one offers himself in place of the novices," and sprint off to go and try and diffuse this situation, knowing that Regenmaer is not maybe the most diplomatic. Yes.
And you, of course, are at disadvantage with all social interactions with mortals.
Unless I lock eyes with them.
Yeah. I'm going to come back. Wulfric, what are you inclined to do?
Whatever necessary, because there is honor in doing the right thing, and I still got a debt with one of my gods, and we never really specified that, and maybe now we could have like some sort of backflash or something where I said, yeah, I will sacrifice my life or something like that.
Okay, so you were all set to sacrifice. Bryn, because you move with preternatural speed, you are on Regenmaer and Cuthred's shoulders shortly after deciding you would go there. And the villagers, led by the Father Abbot, are coming out in a mass, and you can see that some of them have got their farm implements with them. What do you do?
All just a misunderstanding. We walk the dark path so that you may stay in the light. And we have found what evil befalls your town, your village.
Let's see if you can convince the crowd to do what you're asking, which is to, stay away from the hammer of the gods.
I am actually going to lock eyes with Father Abbot Ambrose, and I'm going to say,
"Oh, hang on, no, it's Brother Ambrose is on
Brother
the ground.
Ambrose, yeah, Abbot
Ceganos,
who is leading these people."
Yes.
Ceganos, look at me. You called for the Eotenweard. You knew what this would entail. And I lock eyes with him, and I'm going to try and use my fascination. Look into a mortal's eyes. And then, preternaturally convince him to stand down
and so they're coming, at 50 yards, 40 yards, 30 yards, 20 yards, 10 yards, 7 paces, and then he sees the eyes. Let's see if fascination does the job. When you look into one's eyes, roll plus subtle.
Mm-hmm. That is an 11.
Well. So you get 2 holds. Spend holds to get 10 plus result when using ask as you ask. Do as you ask. He stops. Says no. They are the Eotenweard. They are the guardians. Speak on.
Call forth your priestess, who gave your novices unto these men of God, these lambs of God, unto the dark powers.
And Ceganos just looks confused. Priestess, there is the church does not have priestesses, and there are no nuns here.
I think the creatures had a priestess. Yeah.
The creatures had a priest. Oh, it was the creatures' priestess. Okay, who among you?
No, the creatures did say the priestess sacrificed them to the novices to them.
Yes, but I think what Blake's saying is that it's to the seals she's a priestess. To the people of the church, she's perhaps just some other woman. And looking at the NPCs, I can see that there's an NPC that we have not interacted with who. It's probably, using the is Gary Oldman going to be the secret villain in this movie? Logic.
Yeah. Why did they employ that actor if there was not a reason for them to be important? Oh, schoolboy error on my part.
So yeah, Gary Oldman is playing the part of the
alewife in an uncredited role. And so you scan the crowd, and they're all looking around, but there's one woman who is just backing slowly away from the crowd, and it is Ambudia, the alewife, and she says, "This land was my people's land. This land was productive land. The fish leapt in the rivers. This is the land of the old gods.
And you should pay their price yourself."
Oh.
I'll say to Regenmaer, get her.
Regenmaer, what do you do?
I feel like at this point I'm just going to step up behind Bryn and look as imposing and large as I can. And you know what? I'm going to go full level my axe in her direction. I am the Hammer of Woden. Put your money where your mouth is, woman.
So I think you are convincing her to do as you ask. What exactly do you want her to do, Regenmaer?
Regenmaer's not entirely sure, but Bryn seems to know, so he's just trying to push her in that direction.
Okay. So I think this is roll plus subtle, Regenmaer.
Cool. And I'd like to, can I invoke my reputation to do that?
I think you can, but you don't have to do that until after you roll.
Okay, cool. So my subtle is -1, funnily enough.
You don't say.
So that goes from a 10 to a 9.
Okay, so 9. You could increase that to a 10 if you owe your god a debt and invoke your reputation.
I think I will invoke my reputation to turn that into a 10.
And that will actually give you a 5th experience point. And so on a 10, where am I? On 7 plus, they will do it, but they choose one from. They insist on doing it their way. Yeah.
That seems fair.
But you gain advantage as a result of their help. Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like Ambudia is going to come quietly.
Okay, so I presume we're convincing her to give herself to the seals in exchange for the novices.
You've convinced her to do it in her way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then,
but she's prepared to come quietly to do that, and she looks at Ceganos, the abbot, and she says, "Abbot, I did this for the people. This land will not support them unless fish return. If not by my means, you must find a way." And she walks down towards the marsh.
Is Wulfric there still, or is...
Wulfric is still waiting to sacrifice himself if that is what is necessary. But are the rest of you following her down?
Yeah,
Regenmaer will escort her to the edge of the marsh.
I like to imagine that Wulfric has been in the same position with all these seals standing around, and he's in exactly the same position when we get back.
Yeah.
But Bryn would look to the abbot before following and say, I remember in the good book, it says, love thy neighbor. And these are your neighbors, Abbot. Let us see if we can build a relationship in some way for peace and for prosperity.
And you can see his faith just kind of just flickering a little bit, but it's very well. Cuthred, we know what the others are doing. What is Cuthred doing?
If my goat's all right, yep, we'll come down.
And Ambudia begins to take off her clothes, and gets down into the marsh and begins to wade out towards the seals. And she is speaking Selkie to them. I think probably the effect has worn off, Bryn, but I think that for reasons of dramatic necessity, we will all know that she is offering herself a priestess of the old gods in place of the sacrifices that she fooled into this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we see is that the largest of the seals nudges the two what we recognize now as the novice seals, because they will all have some distinctive markings, so we've been able to spot them since we first identified them. And then it bites, forces them to roll over, bites one of them, and tears as though to tear the skin away. But instead, the skin just unrolls, and a young man comes free. And he does this to both of the seals, these young novices. And they just start dog paddling towards the bank. Wulfric, what are you doing?
To be honest, I don't really know. I feel like I've been betrayed. I was supposed to be the god sacrifice. Now this damned woman betrayed me. Yeah, I don't. It's tonally, I can't imagine so many different things. I can't imagine just committing suicide. I can't imagine to backstab the woman.
What do you do?
Or just being disappointed.
I mean, just by the by, there are two skins out there. Because what you
Also,
see, go on.
The ale house is unguarded.
Yeah.
What you see is the two novices are just scrabbling now out of the marsh, and she reaches for this seal skin, flicks it round her shoulders, rolls in the water, and becomes a seal. And then,
yeah, but
go on.
that's not the sacrifice. I'm going for the church burning then. That seems the most reasonable thing. I feel I'm betrayed, and that's because of the new god that came in, and he betrayed me in front of my very own gods. So the audience can see that I stand there. Then first I turn my head, and there is the sheer madness in my eyes. And then nobody recognizes me because I'm the poor fool. Then I go up, and then we see everybody watching at the seals, and in the back.
Well, hang on. Let us see if indeed the capering fool does come off. So let's roll capering fool. Roll plus soul.
How did the burning adept thing work? Because I really want to have at least a partial success on this, and I've rolled a 4.
Okay, so if you owe your god a debt, then you can invoke your lunatic reputation.
Okay, that seems perfectly reasonable, because I very much think I act in the god's favor.
Okay, so I take it that you are beneath notice and no one notices where you've gone. Where's Wulfric? And I think we are now at the point where we are actually epiloguing out of this session. So then someone says, fire! So as everyone rushes back to the village, Wulfric, what do they see?
They see me just standing at the portal, at the entrance of the burning church, and I'm singing and dancing, and I've clearly gone mad at this point.
I don't know if anybody knows a very old film called White Heat, where James Cagney, on top of a kind of oil installation, is shouting, "You see, Ma, I made it! I made it!" And that is when the church collapses on Wulfric, with a suitably dramatic epilogue out. So we've gone to epilogues, guys. There's no way I can top that. So let's go to Cuthred. What do we see of Cuthred as we epilogue our way out of this episode?
I think, it's a bit later. It's him and the others walking off. It's obviously him and a couple of others. It's hard to tell whether Wulfric's with them or not. And I think that the camera sort of zooms in on Goat's eyes, and the goat blinks, and they just for a second look like the sea drake.
Those flat fish eyes, and then back again. Okay. What about Regenmaer?
I feel like Regenmaer's epilogue is just him kind of sitting on the slope above the village, looking over the hamlet and the burnt out church and the marsh beyond. He's just shaking his head as he sharpens his axe.
Yeah, this is some weird shit. And what about? Well, we know what Wulfric. We know we unless Wulfric wants to I wondered if he might have been reincarnated as a seal. And then finally Bryn. What do we see of Bryn after this?
I think that up on that slope with Regenmaer, and if it's okay to say, and Cuthred's got towed there, and you see Bryn just shake his head and say, "Well, I guess we're not getting paid for that one then." And as we walk away and we walk through the woods, you hear the whisper, "Bryn," and as he steps off the path into the trees, he disappears from shot. And I would like to say that when the camera shows him exiting the woods, the fairy mistress Golfalis is walking with Regenmaer, and instead. You know, Bryn has now changed his appearance to become like her, and is now perhaps her avatar for a brief to repay his debt.
Okay, reduce your debt by 1. In the thrall, no, I'm going all fatey now. In the thrall of Gofana. Okay, that was great, folks. Thank you for that. And so I'd like to do a brief kind of, not stars and wishes because this is a one-shot, but roses and thorns. Can I go around? Blake, do you have any roses you want to throw at people?
I think Murray did a really good job with the loon. That was very unbalanced, which is what you'd expect. And Bryn and Regenmaer had a kind of buddy cop thing going on. You can see them as part of a series. That was cool.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Moving along, Adam, any roses you want to throw?
I think just when Regenmaer completely face-palmed at first combat of the session and everyone else charged in and saved him, that was pretty epic.
That was cool. An unfortunate consequence of some dice rolls, but it was a switch on what everyone's expecting.
Absolutely, it was Cuthbert leaping in beside him and landing the first blow. Wulfric leaping in and dragging him out of danger before he got finished off, and then Bryn coming in to draw attention from the creature. It was a very nice sort of switch around what you might have expected for the fight, and very cool seeing everyone play those parts.
Good. Mario, any roses?
Yeah, that is a lovely little system you got there. I really enjoyed it. It's my first time playing it, and it was tons of fun, and it was quite easy to get, even though there's a bit more than with a lot of other PBTA thingies. And yeah, like I said, when I saw who ran it and who signed up for it, I was sold on a session, and it was just as lovely as always. It's been a while. I mean, it was almost a year since
I'm trying to think.
Blake.
I think it was certainly in the spring. I think I hit the streets, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I think it was certainly in the spring. So yeah, it has been a while. It was good to see you again.
Yeah. So that's all about Gauntlet. Like, it's so much fun to see people that you haven't played with in a while, and that it's giving me life, to be honest.
Oh,
I
good,
really
good. Will, what about you?
The Wulfric's craziness. I mean, we've played with some really good loons, Alan, and I think every one of them is crazy in a different way.
They are all crazy in a different way.
But burning down that church was like the perfect kind of like kind of moment, and then sacrificing himself. That was a perfect idea as well. It was nice to play with a hammer, not being the hammer. The first time I've not played a Hammer of the Gods in Eotenweard, and hammers are going to hammer. And the commoner is always just this like loyal and common sense kind of goodness, even when it's a fool with a goat or a donkey or a donkey sea drake.
I mean, I have to say, the commoner is intended not to be the kind of ha funny like relief, but to provide aspects of that. And I thought about taking the animal away. But I have to say, I think that the commoner has to have the animal because it gives them something to play off. So, and everyone who does, and so my roses would be, using a goat as the voice of your gods is just genius. Love that. I think that if I was picking out a rose for Regenmaer, it was great having the scene where he was face palming, but then he's dying and he goes for it. I thought that was spot on. I think I've already expressed my joy, Mario, at the idea of you going full Wicker Man at the end there. And Will, it was really nice to see you play something else.
In Eotenweard, yeah.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
But just to be developing this relationship with the gods and all of that, and this is the first time the Fae Changeling has been played, so I thank you for giving it a run out. With all of that in mind, can we run round and any thorns, anything that could have been better, could have been smoother? Let me go back round. Blake.
Probably just my own thing. I was a bit tired. I didn't put as much energy as I have some other ones, and that's no one else's fault. Or I was in second gear, not third. But no.
Well, birthday parties are tough, kid.
Yeah, it's been a long day, but no, yeah, I just feel like I could have done more, but yeah.
No, well, I can't endorse that thorn. Adam, any thorns?
Nothing that I can think of. No, it's my first time playing Monster of the Week or anything along those lines as well, and everything seemed to run fairly smoothly and be really easy to pick up.
Good. Mario, any thorns?
Just an observation. With that kind of systems, I always feel it's so hard to pull off a proper one shot. Just with the story like we did this time, because there's so much going on, and I was torn in so many directions, and it took me quite a while to finalize like how heavy I would want to go on the loon and stuff like that. And I haven't found a glue. I just wish we would have some sort of tools to make that initial switch easier to go full in at a one shot. I just haven't found anything that helps me with that.
Yeah, I mean, it is tricky a one shot because
to me, it's a bit like Urban Shadows. It's like you can use it for one shot, but it really shines in a longer series. You can really flesh out all the arcs and into things. So it's
yeah, there's something to that, I think. Finally, Will, any thorns? This was particularly in relation to the Changeling.
I guess. I mean, I think this is the nature of one shot stuff. Is that the Changeling has a bunch of moves that I could have changed out the thing for the one that lets me manipulate monsters, for example. But it depends on what things you run into during the mystery, doesn't it? Which is, again, depends on dice rolls and things like that. But I did really like it. I like the idea of going into debt with your fairy stuff. And I enjoyed the use of use power in this one. It felt less kind of like the Monster of the Week one, where it's like I use magic to completely shortcut whatever random thing here. And it's more kind of like, because it's steeped in that mythology and those prices and those debts, it feels more meaningful and impactful. Kind of
yeah, I mean, certainly, when this started off as a simple hack of Monster of the Week, it was to address that kind of issue, really. Yeah. Not that it isn't a great game. So, okay.
I just wanted to, with the Fae one, I think this is more me not really working out how badly I was at Look About Me, which puts me at that without any hard, if you don't have hard framing, then you are stuck on doing nothing but Look About Me at the start, right? So, but that's, I would have just put my +1 in Look About Me if I'd really thought that through,
Oh, yeah, or chosen a different burden.
Yay, Silky's massively underused.
Yeah. Rose to the Great Mystery, like wonderful mystery.
Thank you. Well, it didn't start off as Selkies, I have to tell you. I didn't know what you were going to encounter, but once we had Wulfric looking to the water rather than the woods, it could have been werewolves if you'd gone the other way. Who knows? So thank you for that. I'm going to stop the recording, so wave goodbye to the internet.